Welcome to Dragon's Tome, issue 115, episode 115. We've done 115 of these, crazy.
It's nuts.
We're covering Dragon Magazine episodically, one issue at a time. My name's Rob.
I'm Jack.
I'm Chopper.
We're here to talk, it's weekly too, by the way. We're here to talk about 115 in this cover. It's by our old French-Canadian friend, Denis Beauvais. The antagonists, good versus evil. Classic battle. We got
a
red dragon with some kind of crazy knight and a sorceress on a Pegasus.
Yeah, that knight looks scary though, man. He is armed. I'm surprised he's not causing his own mount to bleed.
Yeah, that's right. Poor dragon. That's why the dragon's making that face. He's like,
yeah, he's like, ah, your butt is so
stop
spiky.
Moving. Every time you move, I get poked.
Quit swinging that axe. You're hitting me with it. I will say that I think good might be at a disadvantage.
That's the good is always at the disadvantage because evil is much easier.
Because good is dumb.
Good is
what's that from?
I don't remember.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
No. Good. The light path is always harder, but it's more
rewarding. It does. I do like the division of light and dark in the magazine. You got a bright side and you got a dark side.
The dark side.
It's the dark side.
It's cool. He's got Wolverine's claws too.
Yes, and she is using magic instead of weaponry, so I don't know if that's good or bad.
She's confident in her abilities.
He might have wearing anti-magic armor. We don't know.
I think she charmed the dragon. That's what's happened. The dragon's turning back to bite him. She charmed him.
I think what happened is the horse farted because the dragon's face was right around there to bite the haunches, and he's like, ugh, "It's in my mouth."
Well, I know she may be confident, but the horse doesn't look confident. He's like, "Oh God!"
Yeah, I was like, "What have you gotten me into?" I'm so scared I farted in the dragon's mouth,
and it's all that sparkle at the bottom is his farts.
Imagine this is the first episode that you tune into, and this is the level of discourse we have.
That's great.
I apologize. It is never like this.
Well, that's good. We're gonna get right to it. I'm gonna start because it's important right here. Page 5.
Page 5.
It's the editor thing because it's Mohan out, Roger E. Moore in.
Yay!
Gygax at the behind the scenes never says anywhere in this magazine, but behind the scenes, Gygax got fired, ousted from the company, yep. And when he did, Mohan went with him. So he's just like, poor Roger E. Moore, who just started Dungeon magazine, was like, okay, I'll edit Dungeon. Now he has to edit Dragon too, and he got thrust into it. And he says pretty much he says like the classic. I hope you have a good time in your future endeavors to Mohan, and has to get on this bike and start riding it because he's now the editor of Dragon the magazine. I looked everywhere to see if there's anything about Gygax in this magazine, even a little blurb saying, just to clear things up, he's no longer with us. Or
no, it was bad. If you read the book, it was bad.
Wow, but you'd think they'd say something to do some like. Some
there was
spin
a lot of hate.
Yeah, there's no spin control. I'm saying just to say like, yeah, even to lie and say, oh, he decided he wanted to go do his own thing or so. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, but he's off to bigger and better things with with aspirations to do insert something and thank him for his time and something.
Yeah, nothing. And we have noticed that Gygax hasn't been in this magazine for a very long time, so I think that the writing's been on the wall since probably like last 85 probably it started, but now it is. This is probably he got ousted in October '86, so this was probably when this magazine was being put together. Is probably that time because it's the this magazine is actually for November '86, so it's right on the cusp of when this all went down. So interesting, but with Mohan taking over, maybe we'll see with Roger E. Moore taking over, maybe we'll see a vast improvement because we like him. He's not an opinionated ass like some people that used to be editors on this magazine.
And he starts off on the right foot. He says, "By the way, we will have April Fool's issues." So, like, we're going back to
Did he really say that? I didn't read all
No,
of
he
it.
did not.
levity.
He did not say that, but we'll see when we get to April if that's true.
He does say that.
He never said that. Lies.
Oh, he does. He does.
Anyways,
I agree with Jack now.
As you should.
I didn't disagree with you.
But yeah, so it's he does also request articles for non D&D games and other
Does that mean
things,
sci-fi games? Oh,
battle systems or other companies' games or actual D&D, not AD&D. Like he wants to expand the magazine to be more inclusive, and I think that happens in under his tenure. So.
and I think it's probably best because then now you're not wasting space with spell lists.
It's also, I think there was probably a lot of backlash about that, what Mohan said about the survey and all that shit. I think it was a bunch of BS, that whole thing. I think it was just him trying to find reasons to do what he wanted to do. And now hopefully the ship will be righted. So, because it was a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
On to Patrick. What is your first article?
Let's go to page 12.
12 Lords
of
of the
Night. Behind the scenes of Thieves Guild.
Yeah, that's the special attraction. This magazine is all about thieves. There's a huge.
It was a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot.
This is one of mine.
Was it?
I got one of mine too. I got not this one, but I have one of the thieves ones.
This specific one is the one I did.
Yes.
So this is an article on fleshing out Thieves Guild. I do agree with the opening text that almost no text is dedicated to the guild itself in any of the original books.
Yeah.
And Mr. Oppen, I'm going to go with Oppen. Mr. Oppen.
Yes.
Fleshes out Thieves Guild and all the benefits of being in
one of two articles in this that flesh out a Thieves Guild.
Yeah. So, but this one I feel was better. The other one was a lot of minutia. This one was more a little straight to the point.
This one was, hey, it's mentioned in the books a bunch of times that you have to have a guild, you're part of a guild, but it never says what it is. This is like, hey, this is what a guild is.
Yeah.
The second one is, okay, like in a city, you would have multiple guilds. How would they interact with the city? How would they interact with each other? How would you
make them? And...
I wrote it down that this one fleshes out what you need, the benefits about being in the guild, like training, fencing, information availability, etc. The second one breaks it down more like it's the La Cosa Nostra, like the mafia. Here's the overboss. Here the the capos.
Where the police guy's got his cigarette and he's jamming his finger at a board with a bunch of pictures on there.
Quotes too much.
Yeah.
For Thieves Guild.
Yeah. So you have anything else to say about this one?
No, I thought it was a nice article that, considering there is no guidelines for making a Thieves Guild, this was a very good set of guidelines.
Yeah.
A complete blind spot in the original source material. This was both necessary and very well done. It did exactly what it should have done. A primer on this thing that's mentioned a bunch.
Yeah, the second one definitely is more in how you would set up a crime syndicate than being a Thieves Guild.
Yeah.
How someone who's doing world building would have it set up in the town that they're creating. More so.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, what's your first article?
Well, we're going to go to page 48.
Oh, I thought you were going to snipe me with another one.
Well, I thought he was going to say, so I didn't have any articles.
I'm surprised I'm not sniping anyone because of this.
I left this one for you.
Professor Ed Greenwood, Esquire of Ed Greenwood fame, is writing again another article about magical items. We've seen them in the past. We love them. You can't get enough of them. Heirs of Ages Past, which is about harps, magical items.
Yeah.
There's only a few of them, but in his fashion, he's actually there's a bit of brevity here. Usually, there's a couple paragraphs on its appearance and then what it does. This he must have been instructed to
bar down.
Yeah,
Roger E. Moore
I mean,
said, keep it short, Ed.
I don't feel like he's over, but I don't think Dr. Greenwood himself. I don't think he's piled on the minutia most of the times.
but he's definitely created a number of interesting different harps. Some of which you could see working really well in the game, like some that just unlock doors and remove obstructions as long as it's being played. Some of them are protection, like you and everything you have is protected by a stone skin spell, and then there's other ones that uh, like hide you and everyone you're with. Just useful items that if you want to stock in your adventure that you're running.
Definitely, if you have a bard too. These are great items for bards if you combine. If you were going to give one a legendary item.
Yes.
There you go. Harps.
Harps.
Back to me, right?
The instrument, not the ale.
Correct. And not Rob's nickname all throughout high school and college. Hey, Harps, get over here. You're doing DJ tonight. Okay.
We're gonna go page 36 of the thieves area. It's tools of the thieving trade, and once again, when you start a thief, you have to pay 30 gold pieces for a thief kit, and it never explains what's in it. So this explains everything that would be in it, how to use it, how it affects all your gameplay, and explains like what each thing is, which is good.
The wax key print, that's pretty cool.
There's tons of cool stuff in here. But it also explains, like, it has the rules for everything, like if you have this and don't have it, how it affects you doing things. Like some things you can't pick a lock without thieves picks because it's impossible. Like you need to be able to shove something into the lock to actually open a lock. And but it talks about the clothing. It talks about all different ways to climb walls and things like that. And yeah, it's a pretty fun little article. Once again, necessary if you want to play a thief. You want to know what your items are. This is super necessary. So another good article. This one by Vince Garcia.
And not overtly long. I think we're seeing a new trend here.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely seeing a trend.
But again, necessary. The nebulous things, the thieves' tools. You go, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's the thieves' picks, right? Well,
it's not just that. Yeah, it's funny. All this stuff ends up in the second edition thieves book. Like literally, like exact same stuff.
Oh yeah, the thieves' handbook.
Yeah. So it's just once again, obviously it's needed, and we filled the hole. Thieves kit. We're back to Patrick, I believe.
All right, so we're just going to go a couple pages down to 41 or 40.
40. Hammer of Thor.
Spear of Zeus.
I do love that picture of Thor. That's from the Deities and Demigods, right?
Demigods, yeah. It's one of the good ones. And this picture of Zeus is also from Deities and Demigods.
What is it?
Yeah. So with the release on Arcana, we are now starting to see the easing up of cleric weapon limitations.
Yeah.
So this article basically allowing clerics to use their signature weapon of their gods, which is logical, right?
Once again, the Cleric's Handbook is all about this. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is all correcting all on Arcana and all the other things.
Yeah. So if your
second edition cleanup. This is part of second edition.
Yeah, I love it because if your god's you're a warrior, why would you not be able to have a sword or a spear?
Right.
Yeah. And it does come with a list, not a heavy list, and this is kind of the list you want.
Yeah, just says your god and what the weapon is.
And basically, in this, while covering a whole book, these are all the gods out of the Deities and Demigods books.
Yep.
It just gives their name, if they have a weapon. It doesn't give you a description and why they chose that weapon, blah, blah, blah. No, no wasted space.
It's perfect.
So, I thought it was a nice article, and you can start to see now this shifting change of how
clerics aren't just Christian clerics. These are
they're not
gods.
Hitting people with hammers or maces, and
it was always such a weird rule, right?
Yeah,
it's like
I never understood it.
I didn't either. If you
Because it didn't make a difference if you bash someone's head in or you stab
well,
them through
you
the
don't want to
heart.
spill blood. You hit someone with a fucking mace, it's gonna spill blood. Like
Or what do
you
they
might
call it?
tenderize the meat first, but you're still
You
gonna
hit someone with you hit someone with a flail, you're definitely gonna.
yeah. Like it's such a weird,
I think it was
arbitrary
a
thing.
holdover from mechanics from the very infancy of the game, whether to do with balancing of classes or if it was
I mean,
whatever it was, but it held on with like
I
just
just don't know where you would have got that idea from. I mean,
Well, I
even
think it
in
once again from medieval monk or medieval like
well,
clerics.
They were Christian priest knights
Well, those are
that
paladins. That's different.
used swords,
That's
but
paladins.
they were called priests though. They weren't called
Wow.
paladins.
They were paladins, but yeah, no.
I mean, in the history books and in religious books, they were priests.
Wow.
but I guess to broaden from the very specific mythology that the original game, like a very European style of this is what it equates to. As soon as you start saying, well, I want to bring in other aspects, well, you're going to have other regions that had different, worship, like a leaders of worship that had whole different sets of thoughts and ideas, and they wouldn't necessarily have a mace.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't.
I want to
So-
interrupt.
Yeah.
Just because we mentioned this earlier, we said Gary Gygax's name was scrubbed. I just see his name in this article.
Yeah,
No, I didn't say it was scrubbed.
uh,
They didn't say anything about it. He just says it's in this article he says it was even back then he had a door open for that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's just common sense. And I like for balancing, really does difference between having a sword and a mace that different? It's not. The points are very, like I think a short sword and a mace are the same damage. So it's not like a big
Yeah, and then
difference.
if you get a footman's mace, it's almost the same as a bastard sword. I mean,
Yeah, like it's not going to be that much difference in that kind of way. So what was the point other than to make them aesthetically different, I guess? But
yeah, some sort of holdover
yeah,
that
weird.
has lasted this whole.
yeah. I
this
just
whole
don't
time.
know where that.
I
idea
don't
comes from,
know about future editions about the whole thing with weapons. It seems to be still around. Like there's just the thought of it at least. But maybe you can have a god, and if his god has swords, you can use swords.
Yes, that is very much a rule now.
Yeah, it's this. I remember. I think I had the cleric's handbook, and I remember seeing the lists of all the different gods and what. Or no, it might have been in Legends and Lore. The new Legends and Lore said like clerics can use this type of weapon in it. I think it might be one of them. Anyways, it did say what is their preferred weapon for their followers.
When we got a hold of this article, this is how we played clerics.
Yeah, obviously this is common sense, and it is limiting because you have my god only lets me use short bows and long swords. Well, okay, I can't use this, or like the one is only handheld crossbow. Like that's pretty limiting. Like
Yeah.
So. But I think it's just it's always been so logical. So who was that? That was Pat. Back
That
to
was me.
Jack.
Well, I had to double team that article on the Thieves Guild with young Patrick, so that taps me out. I'm done.
It's not good, man. We're only at like 20 minutes into this episode. You know that, right?
Yeah, but it's not like I don't know that you two have every nook and cranny covered. There's not going to be a post about wanting to run a game in Des Moines, Iowa that you're not going to cover.
We might have to. Okay, we'll go to page 62 then. Door number 1, door number 2, or by Dave Snuffin. Great name. This is a list of 50 wacky doors, but not user
I thought this was going to be Jack's article, honestly. I left this one for Jack.
Jack refuses to do more than one article, so
There was, because there's wacky doors and wacky floors, and I thought both of them, while interesting, were not in my wheelhouse.
Well, this one's 50 non-random. You can't do it randomly because some of these are goddamn tough. So
Yeah.
but some of them are pretty funny. But it goes from just traps, like regular traps, to like teleportation. One it switches you with one random monster in the dungeon. Like that's fucking tough.
That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah, there's like silent spells. Like there's a lot of different. Like you want to just add a wacky door to your dungeon entrance. This is the way to do it. So it's just a fun list. Yeah, it's a spice up your dungeon doors. But I would use it randomly because randomness is the spice of life, and I want someone to roll the one that has a demon protecting the door.
If like when you're writing a module, you wouldn't just go, okay, whatever this is, I roll, I'm going to use. But if the door was every time you use this door, something different happens, and this is the table.
Yeah.
Just one main door that you have to use maybe 4 or 5 times. That would be wild.
That would be pretty funny. Because chaos would ensue. But,
yeah, because you'd never know. The first time you open it, you go, a flute plate. Okay, I don't care.
Yeah, that's right. The one is, music plays, which is hilarious.
And then you go, okay, well, you're going to have to go back and forth a couple times because it's too many arm loads. Well, okay, so we hear flute again. Big BFD.
This time the first person who touches it just disappears. You're like, what?
Uh-oh. Yeah. So, again, when I was young and I had limited resources for entertainment, and I bought this magazine, I would have pored over these 2 articles all the time and thought of the possibilities.
Yeah.
I felt I got my money's worth a few of these articles.
Yeah. Patrick, do you have any more?
I do.
Okay.
I got quite a bit, actually.
Excellent.
52.
Oh, yeah. Harpy. There's 2 different ones in this one.
The Ecology of the Harpy. It's actually one article. It's a 2-pronged article, though, by Barbara Curtis and followed up by Dr. Greenwood. The first part by Barbara Curtis is the story that we normally get from Ed. And then the second half of the article is the game stats that Ed always does afterwards.
That's neat.
Yeah, so the story is actually not too bad. It's a guy looking to understand what the harpies are because they're attacking caravans in the town. Captain the guy's trying to figure it out. So he goes, he's a sage. And it turns out at the end of the thing, he portrayed the harpies being stupid and blah, 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 when they're not, because he's actually working with the harpies. Mm-hmm. So it leads all to that. And then it goes into the meat and potatoes of the ecology of what they do and everything's like that. So apparently they lay a lot of eggs, but only like 30% of all the eggs they size, which is why harpies don't run rampant. They do also, if the baby is any kind of way deformed, they automatically kill the child. And they charm with songs like a siren.
Yep.
And they also can charm by touching. I didn't know they could charm by touching.
But we got an article on harps, and now we got an article on harpies. How appropriate.
Oh. And they also can cast Charm Monster, which I didn't know they could do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so, but they do like to fly and attack, bite, scratch, kind of thing. But it just all breaks them down, and then pretty much all the other stuff of harpies is the standard stuff you know about harpies.
The classic harpy shtick.
And as ecologies go, did you mind the fact that it was a story and then the ecology, which is kind of also a story in itself? Was it gilding the lily for you, or?
No, it was okay. I didn't mind it because normally Ed puts a nice long story, and then hits you with the notes. So the second part, Ed's preamble story, probably wasn't as good as the first story. I think he was preoccupied with other things, like maybe making harps.
But it did add to the article.
It did. I didn't hate it, and it again, even with 2 authors, the article is not that long.
Yeah, I think there is a limit now.
So which is good because I was able to be like, oh god, 2 authors.
No Arthur.
2 authors. This is gonna be like 18 pages, and I scrolled down. And I only counted like 4.
2 Arthurs. How would Liza Minnelli survive that?
She did though. She did Arthur too. That's when the butler dies. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Let's go to, before we ruin any more movies from the 80s, let's go to page 84. It's a profile on Roger E. Moore. Finally, we get a picture of him. He looks like
Doesn't look like the guy I met at Comic-Con.
looks like Gimli. I don't know.
Is he holding a ray gun?
He's holding a, yeah, I think it's a gun of some sort. He's
Yeah,
Roger
it
Moore.
looks like
It's
a
supposed
Colt
to be,
45.
it's supposed to be Roger Moore. Get it? He's James Bond.
So Walter PPK with the silencer on it.
I do like he signs his name and has a thumbprint. So, but he's really, it's a funny article. He's a funny guy because it's his the profiles. It's his life growing up, but it's written in a funny way. He says he was a child prodigy because he got his computers in high school to print out Playboy centerfields, so he became a very popular guy. He joined the army, and he became a mental health counselor in the army, which I never knew, which is amazing. And while he was stationed in West Germany, he said none of the guys would come to him because they just skip out on their sessions all the time. So he got bored and started writing articles for Dragon. So that's how he started. And then they made him a contributing editor of Dragon magazine. He's still in the army at this point. While in the army, he got an Army Commendation Medal. And so obviously he's underplaying what his role was and what he was doing. He was obviously did something quite good. Probably dealing with post Vietnam depression and stuff like that, because that's when he was
yeah. It was probably a very heavy, very very important role that he laughs off, maybe just so he doesn't have to think too much about what he heard and saw.
For sure. So he finishes that, gets his medal, and then he discharges from the army, finishes school with his psychology and gets a PhD and works for NASA. But then he decides that working for the space program is a little boring. So he quits and joins Dragon full time. This is where this guy's coming from. And then he has a great paragraph where he discusses everything he's learned from Mohan, which is filled with misspellings and bad grammar, and it's hilarious. And so I thought that was a little dig at Mohan at the end there. And so he became the editor of Dungeon magazine, and then all of a sudden now he's editor-in-chief at Dragon. So he's this poor guy. But he seems like a real funny guy, old Roger E. Moore. And we've had, before he became what he is, people talked about his when he was running his campaigns in West Germany for the troops, and they were supposedly like amazing. Like that was like super.
He was the guy. I wanted to get stationed in Germany so I could play D&D.
Yeah, like it was like renowned how good he was. It was obvious he was gonna get a job in TSR. So he also writes a lot of the books and does a lot of other stuff. So his fingers everywhere, and hopefully we get a long tenure with him as the editor, and we can enjoy the magazine again. It was going to be a bit of a slog, and even these ones weren't great, but there's still tons of articles because they're all short. So there's a lot more to talk about. That's what I think. There's so far so good. So obviously he just started, so I don't know when, because it's weird. Because remember last issue, Mohan didn't do the editor thing either. So I wonder if it was already happening, and Roger had to talk about his impersonator last time. So
like they couldn't make the announcement. But
it
was already in the works. Yeah. So, Roger of Moria. That's his how he signs it off. But fun stuff. That's my final article. Patrick, do you have any more?
I got two quick shout outs.
Excellent.
Let's go to page 78. When only the best will do. This is for Top Secret. And this is the stats and descriptions of every H&K line of weaponry made to date.
I think this guy, Kevin Marzell, must work for Heckler and Koch, because he just goes.
He goes. I mean, there's all kinds of things on this thing. I'm like, holy crap! This guy is either a gunsmith or he just loves weapons.
Or he loves HK. That's for sure.
This guy must come from North Wisconsin.
But he goes on and all about all the different types.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool, and then
obviously
again
MP5 is the best weapon ever made.
H&H. Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, I think we're still everyone's enamored with the 357 Magnum from the Dirty Harry movies. And what was the last movie he did as Dirty Harry? It was
Uh, was it
was it? It's like Deadpool, but it was
Lethal? Oh no, yeah, it was the Deadpool. Yeah, that's right.
Was it Deadpool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy's ahead of the curve because pretty soon MP5s are going to be the hotness. So.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. So I thought this was a nice little article, especially if you played Top Secret. But at this point, I'm really over with Top Secret, but I still like to make shout outs for Top Secret because it was one of those games I enjoyed as I was learning RPGs in general. And then let's go to my bread and butter RPG at this point. Age 87.
87.
Interstellar Armor. So we have new defenses and new weaponry for the Nighthawks game. And there's some new weapons too that you can add to Star Frontiers. So again, I'm earmarking this and putting it up and putting it in my Star Frontiers rulebook. But it's got some really nice, cool armors and bombs. It adds new bombs and stuff for Starhawk.
That's the space battle game.
Yeah, that's the space battle game that they made for Star Frontiers World.
Not
Starhawks, Nighthawks.
Yeah. Star Frontiers TSR?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I always confuse those ones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but that's it. That's all I got now.
Okay, we'll go to ads then. I only have one ad, so
I have 3.
That's good. We'll start with Pat then.
Let's go to page 7.
Hey, page 7. Hawk Moon.
Hawk Moon by Chaosium.
It'd be funny, Rob. You've only got one. I've only got one. Pat's got 3. His first one takes one of ours. And we're like, oh, no.
So I've never played this RPG either, but I loved the Eternal Champion series and the idea of the Eternal Champion.
Yeah. I read all those books.
And by Chaosium, so I don't know, can't be horrible.
Yeah, I guess they did Stormbringer too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but Elric is one of the Heroes Eternal, so.
Yep. Yeah. Hawk Moon. Yep. Classic.
Yeah, I did enjoy Hawk Moon. It was one of my favorite ones. Quorum was a good one. Of course, Elric is the fan favorite.
I love the Hawk Moons. The Chronicles of Count Brass. That was a great book.
Those were great 3 books.
That's the Hawk Moon ones. Elric I always find was a bit moody. He was very goth.
Yeah, he was very. He was very My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, where Hawk Moon was much more Conan.
Before My Chemical Romance was out.
He was much more Conan, like more action hero.
Yeah. So, but yeah, never played it.
I think it was
the idea.
Was Count Brass the one where they came through time? There was like a time thing where all the Eternal Champions ended up together?
They all met. Yeah, they met at the Castle Brass at near the end.
Yeah,
that's when all of them got together. At least not all of them, but at least all the ones that were books were like the guy. Jairus was the guy from the future who had a gun.
And there was the one like bard kind of guy, funny guy.
Yeah, and then Quorum with the one eye, and then Elric and Count Brass, and there was I always forget his name, but it was the black guy who wore the bear skin.
Yes.
Jack is. I don't think Jack read these.
You never read any of those books? Great books.
No, I've never read Michael Moorcock. No.
Great books. Read them.
Yes.
I have them somewhere. Yeah, fun times. Chaosium, doing good. I wonder if it's based on any like RuneQuest or something, or is it its own thing?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe at Gen Con we'll stop by the Chaosium booth and see if they have any new books still. I doubt it.
No, they don't have. They have the RuneQuest, but I don't think they have. Obviously, this is a license, so
they might still have Stormbringer.
I don't think. Maybe new version came out. Maybe.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your first ad? Only ad.
Let's take a look here. We're gonna go to page 90.
Oh, mine. You said 90. You got close to mine. That's what I got scared there.
Oh, okay.
Boulder Dash.
Introducing Boulder Dash, which I did not know TSR released.
We talked about this already. You sound like me at this point.
But I recognize the box
Oh,
This
this is like
when we were talking about it, I think it was a Canadian invention, and I don't
Yep.
think it was packaged this way. When as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's the Boulder Dash game," and I was like, "This is the TSR release."
Yeah, unless they
So
haven't changed it much, but yeah,
Who's got
yeah,
Balderdash now?
I'm sure it's Hasbro. They own everything
mm.
until all are one.
So did they
Hasbro.
just fire Boulder Dash a week ago?
Yeah, they got rid of
I
their
don't know,
Boulder Dash
but I
section.
know I see the game at Target.
Yeah, I don't know.
They
TSR
mostly just fired most of the Wizards of the Coast people. So
Oh, that's right. I
clearly,
forgot there was a cleaning of house.
yes.
Cleaning house for the mistake that Hasbro made.
Oh, well, yeah. Shareholders have to be happy. The creatives,
hey,
what did they ever do?
hey, I'm a
Get them out of
shareholder.
there.
I'm a shareholder, so don't say so. No,
Oh,
no, yeah. All the they've well, we're getting into this, but they voted all their CEOs to get a raise, and then they fired 1,100 people that were lower down that did the actual work, like all the artists and everything who did
Yeah.
the new version of
artists,
D&D.
writers.
That's the best. I love
We'll
when
see.
that
We'll see how
happens.
fast AI does all the art for a 6th edition. Like people are gonna flip their brains.
The thinking is they've already finished it, so now they're just useless. They can ride on the sixth edition for 5-6 years. So get rid of all the creatives now, and
I hate to say it, but this is where D&D might disappear.
I don't think that's true, but I think people are just gonna be playing older editions. That's all it is.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone will buy anything from. It'll be all secondhand market and or the new other stuff that's coming out now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, well, they wanted just subscription for a D&D 1 or whatever it's called, the 6th edition. So,
Yeah.
Boulder Dash was owned by Hasbro. Now it's owned by Mattel. So, which I'm amazed Hasbro does not own Mattel. They bought everybody else. So,
I think Mattel still got some money. They got deep pockets, I think.
well, so you also thought like Parker Brothers, and there's gonna be people with deep pockets.
Well, Parker Brothers but Parker Brothers only had the Sorry and Trouble, and once those
Yep.
Milton Bradley was the one I was surprised that went under fairly quickly.
Tons of them. Kenner.
Yeah.
All those. Anyways, yes. So it's currently being produced by Mattel. Thank you for that, Jack. What would mine? We're gonna go 95. It's amazing. Usually I skim through these here. The what's it called? The Gamers Guide.
Nowadays, I have to look through these because sometimes the articles or the ads are so rehashed now.
But this one, right in the center of the page, new from Game Science, Zodecahedron or Zochahedron, 100-side die.
Zokahedron.
Yeah, this is the 100-side die, the one that's it's smooth on the outside, but it's got the ball bearings inside, so it rattles. And we had a buddy who had this, and yeah, it brought back memories. I'm like, wow, this is cool. How much was it? It was $5 plus $2.50 shipping and handling, or you can get a complete set for $13.50. So that in the colors. Yeah, so it's totally terrible die. Like
it would roll off the table.
And it was just like it's hard to read the top because there's so many letters on it. And
I've got one. It's in my drawer right here, but I'm not getting it out.
You refuse? I'm sure I have one somewhere too, but it's a neat little invention.
I'll be honest with you. I think I resisted the urge to buy 100-sided dice, just because it was just like a golf ball, basically.
It was, yep.
Yeah.
Ping pong ball, yep.
Because it had that clear shell, that exoskeleton, and it had the very shallow
divots,
so that it did stop on a number. But Rob's right.
It was all about the ball bearings on the inside, yeah.
Yeah, to keep it from just rolling ad nauseum, it had these multiple little things that would just fill up holes inside, and eventually it would wait to slow the momentum.
And you have to try to guess what the top is. Yeah.
So it would just
No, percentile.
You hear it.
The actual percentile dice, the D10s, is the way to go. But this is kids nowadays. They don't know. When new dice came out, it was a big hotness. I remember D30s came out. We're like, oh, D30.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. And but I resisted the urge.
Then when like
on this one.
D16s come out and D2s and
D2s.
they make crazy dice now.
Which is a coin?
Pretty much. I have a D2 that's it's literally two-sided, but it's 3D shape. It's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, I just thought it was cool to 100-sided die has been introduced in 1986. Jack, no more article or no more ads.
No, I'm done.
So it's all you, Patrick. What you got?
Okay, 25.
I knew this one. I left this one for you.
Starship Tactical Combat Simulator. This is the fastest game. Now they're really pushing their space minigame at this point. While the game was fun, it didn't compare to Starfleet Battles, which was a little more intensive and a little more crunchy, but still in a good way. It felt like a nice battle was going on. So basically, I ended up using these figs for
those miniatures
Starfleet
are
Battles.
sweet.
Yeah,
they are. I'm sure they are ridiculously expensive now.
Yeah, no doubt. The Starship Combat Simulator was great, but then it just I don't know. They just didn't keep up with Starfleet Battles. Starfleet Battles just kind of ran rampant over it. So
we'd had a lot more out there for Starfleet Battles.
But I'm not gonna lie though. They probably just more focused on the RPG than they did the Starship Simulator game.
Yeah.
At that point, so because the Star Trek RPG wasn't horrible, it was actually kind of fun.
Now, what's it called? Modiphius has Star Trek.
Yep.
They just put out, Jack. They put out a supplement for Lower Decks for the role playing game.
Oh yeah,
oh, nice. I might have to get that.
And your last ad,
page 43.
Gamma World.
I'm assuming this is the announcement of the 3rd edition of UW. Considering it says that on the after the subject.
It's a funny ad to say something in a funny way. Like I whoever thought this up, hey, let's do this as an ad. It's eye catching, and also I liked it.
I did too. We'll be playing the 2nd edition of Game World though at Lake Geneva.
There you go.
FYI,
this is 3rd edition.
Yes.
So, I like 3rd edition.
You've never played Game World, so you don't know what you like. This point,
you don't know what you like. Shut up! You'll like it. Just eat it.
Exactly. You haven't been around long enough to know if you like it or not.
We'll just put it in the fridge. You can eat it for breakfast in the morning.
Exactly.
Just hold your nose and gulp it down.
Eat pancakes and bacon and eggs. You're going to be eating leftover cube steak.
Ooh. Can we get Taco Bell I can eat for breakfast?
Oof.
For a week?
Is there Taco Bell? There's got to be a Taco Bell in Geneva.
It's got. I don't know. It doesn't seem to have that many fast food places.
It has the staples. It has the Popeyes. It has the KFC. It has the Culver's. It has the McDonald's. I think it has Burger King.
It's in Wisconsin. It's got to have a Culver's.
Well, of course.
It's contractually obligated.
Yeah. You can't have a town or a village in Wisconsin and not have a Culver's.
It's how they get incorporated. They have to they build the Culver's, and then it's like, okay, you're now a city or a town.
I never looked for Taco Bell, but I'm sure there's got to be one.
It's my breakfast. Breakfast champions. So. Okay, are we done? Is it?
I think so.
I think so.
We keep forgetting to say it, but like, share, subscribe, comment below. Tell us if Lake Geneva has a Taco Bell.
That'd be great. Yes.
And any other comments you like? We're getting a lot of comments. We like to try to respond to all of them. If not, we read them all at very least. And well, Jack doesn't read anything because he hates you. He hates your fans.
Well, he also is illiterate. That's why he only does 2 articles. Because the person that reads for him only has enough money.
It costs more money. Yeah, he does about a word, and it gets pretty costly.
Old Mrs. Guthrie, she comes over bespeckled in her cardigan and her shawl, and she just reads to me. And sometimes I fall asleep, but other times I just sit there
and take notes.
And other times you get spicy.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the blue hairs.
That's the older woman.
Yeah. The ironic twist is she's actually a ghost, and I don't know that until like the last chapter.
That's when I come over and you're like, "Oh, Miss Guthrie, she's just finishing up the chapter." And I'm like, "There's no one here."
You mean the third grade teacher that died 7 years ago?
That's right. Not
And
Miss
then-
Guthrie that we had in grade school. She's been
That's
dead
right.
nigh on 20 years.
And then a claymation large Marge effect happens. Yeah.
And I'm just standing there. Nothing's happening. Jack's like, ah! Running around like Scooby-Doo. His legs are just going. Anyways, yeah. Like,
True.
if you like this show for some reason.
That's why I don't read your comments.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be back next week for 116. We'll see if the greatness continues under the new the James Bond era. So let's see if we get some more lots of top secret articles now.
Yeah, maybe we'll get on to the Ruger. The Ruger company will give a list of weapons for Rutgers. Jesus, that's a college.
Yes, it is.
Maybe they'll play some Ruggers.
I think that's
at
the
Rutgers.
91st ranked college in America. 94th.
You just made that number up.
Comment below if
Look it
Jack
up.
made that number up.
Look it up.
Because if he's right, we want to question why.
Exactly. I don't know some U.S. college.
Yeah. Until next week, I've been Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
Go Rutgers.
Woohoo! Go Rutger.
Fighting pirates.
Hair triggers.
Is it the Fighting Pirates?
I think it's hair triggers.
Bye-bye.